insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
President Trump has just signed an executive order, and he is now invoking the Defense Production Act, wartime powers, and a national emergency. This is what President Trump just announced for today, and he is issuing warnings that our power grid and our energy infrastructure is at risk. So let's get into all the details here. You guys can see Trump actually signed 5 different executive orders today. Alright, so you guys can see this just came out today, April 20th, 2026. It says presidential determination pursuant to Section 303 of the Defense Production Act, which is a Wartime Power Act of 1950, as amended on grid infrastructure, equipment, and supply chain capacity. Alright, so he signed an executive order for grid infrastructure, equipment, and supply chain capacity. He signed another one for coal supply chains and baseload power generation capacity. He signed another one today for domestic petroleum production, refining, and logistics capacity. Signed another one as well for natural gas transmission, processing, storage, and liquefied natural gas capacity. And also the last one here for development, manufacturing, and deployment of large-scale energy and energy-related infrastructure. Alright, so this is huge. This is a major warning sign. The language in these executive orders is saying that our grid is crumbling and our grid is in trouble, and it's a national security issue, it's a national defense issue, and he's even invoking a national emergency. All right. We also have this as well too. The Pentagon wants General Motors and Ford to build weapons and bombs. Here's what happened last time during World War II. All right. So we have General Motors, Ford, and all of these electrical production companies for the supply chain are now being ordered to produce things to supply our grid infrastructure. Alright, so you can see here, it says, the order that America's inadequate energy production, transportation, and infrastructure constitute an unusual and extraordinary threat to the nation's economy, national security, and foreign policy. It further recognizes that foreign adversaries have exploited these vulnerabilities and that an affordable and reliable domestic supply of energy, including the infrastructure needed to generate, transmit, and deliver it, is essential to ensuring the United States defense readiness, economic strength, and energy independence. So you kind of have to read between the lines here. They're warning that there are foreign parts in our supply chain for the power grid, alright? And these parts can be exploited. Alright, you guys can see here it says, I've declared a national emergency under Executive Order 14156, and I further determine that action to expand the domestic capability to develop, manufacture, and deploy grid infrastructure and supporting industrial supply chains is necessary to avert an industrial resource or critical technology item shortfall that would severely impair national defense capabilities. Therefore, pursuant to this section, he's waiving requirements. Okay, so